No, you didn't know.
All right, here we're gonna do a little discussion because I heard very low talking on a previous stream about Kickstarter, crowdfunding, early access, and stuff like that, and pretty much very much agreed with him. But he mentioned it in passing, and I wanted to talk more in depth with this. I'm probably gonna do it in one of the streams as well. Just what he said resonated with me. So, what's when it comes to um, putting a game on, let's say Kickstarter. Well, let's start with that. Uh, what's your biggest issue with that?
Well, first off, can everybody hear me all good? Is that okay? You hear me
Yeah,
good?
I can hear.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, first off, thanks for having me on, man. It's always a pleasure to be on your channel. Now, when it comes to Kickstarter, I'm going to try to condense it as best as I can. My big pet peeve is that it very much mirrors, in a negative way, a investor cycle. Like, first of all, let's look at how investment works into a company in, real world or real life situations. The way that happens is that if a company needs money, they'll go and get investors and they'll sell them shares, or they'll give them some kind of contract, giving them a certain return on their money. And you make the risk and you take that gamble on the company being successful for you to get a specific return, whether it be, you have shares of that company which are worth more than what you initially paid for, or you have some kind of contract that gives you a monetary return after a certain amount of money is made as a net profit. There are other types of agreements, but these are the most simple. Now, Kickstarter takes that exact same methodology and removes the reward part. It removes the whole, you're going to get something from investing in this. And the way they do it is that they change the word investment to donation. But if you look at it from a serious perspective, it's the same thing. It's a company that needs money to get their project started or whatever, or get a game or any specific project, and needs money to get it started, and they can't do it without it. So they really have nothing, is the first part. You're investing in it, and all you're usually getting in return is some kind of cheap little piece of merchandise, like a t-shirt or a cup or your name on the game or something, and the product itself. So here you are investing in a company in which your only return is the product that they intend to sell. The quality of the product, completely unknown to you, because you're just completely trusting the idea. You're completely trusting what they say they want to do. And usually, when it comes to Kickstarter, because they're amateurs, what they say they want to do in the time they want to do it usually doesn't come true. So that's my first big pet peeve of Kickstarters. And I think we can kind of go off from there.
Well, I think it pretty much made me fly off the handles was when the Oculus thing happened, and basically fucked over all of those who actually bought into or gave them the money, and that's why they should offer shares, not fucking rewards, which is so stupid because you don't even know if you're gonna get the game or anything they promise.
The interesting thing, however, is that they've successfully shifted the word investment for donation. They've successfully shifted it into that so that you don't have to, you have no claim over it. And they've turned it into, oh, you're just donating, and you should be thankful that we're giving you this extra little thing. But it does mirror the same exact methodology of an actual, company going public. Like on the, on the stock market trade in the United States, for example. It mirrors the same procedure. You're just not getting the same benefits. Another interesting pet peeve about it is how there is no fucking intermediary to protect the consumer in any way. Kickstarter, Indiegogo, all those guys, I think Indiegogo has a little bit better, to be fair to them, a little bit better system in place than Kickstarter does. But they just, in general, just go, okay, well, it's your responsibility as a consumer to decide if this is good for you. And if it fucks you over, it's your responsibility to go after them. And they make it as, well, these people have their names on the line. They have their reputations on the line. So they really give a shit. When in reality, that's nonsense. A person could just put up a fucking company, start, a Kickstarter for a $60,000 game, and then not deliver it, and then, go with another buddy and start another company and do the same thing over and over again. There really is nothing stopping them, and there's no penalty from anybody. It's pretty much just, oh, except in very specific cases, oh, it just didn't happen, deal with it. or they do the eternal delay. That's another out that they have. It's not that we haven't given you the product, it's just been delayed to 2031. You know, it's like the Mighty Number 9 fiasco. Like, what is it at this point? It's delayed without a date now, because originally it was like
delayed to 2016.
Yeah, it was first, it was like delayed to the first quarter, and then they kind of like removed the quarter thing instead of just 2016.
Well, they said the game was done in like March, and now
Yeah.
it's fucking delayed. It's fucking a disaster.
And that was after they did a Kickstarter for another game, which is very fucking suspicious. And thankfully that Kickstarter failed, but it's really fucking suspicious that they were doing a second Kickstarter, you know, when their first game wasn't even done. It's really fucking, you know, weird when that happens. So, but again, you know, and if you look at it again, there's no intermediary. There's nothing regulating these people. You know, we're supposed to be the ones to regulate, but it's kind of a, you know, an impossible task. Let's say, especially if you donate for somebody who's overseas. Like, if you start a company, for example, Andrew, let's say that you're living in Italy and I'm fucking living, let's say, in fucking Canada. Why would I live there? But, you know, that's for the sake of discussion. And I donate money to you, and it's kind of, well, now I have to go after you because you didn't fucking, you know, accomplish your promises. What is the legal route that I have to take? That shit's on me. Kickstarter is hands off. It's kind of, it's our responsibility. So, and then comes the next part where it's kind of on the consumer. And I've talked about this in the past. The consumer is a big portion of this problem. As of every shitty practice in the industry, there's a lot of the blame that can be placed on the consumer, because we're the guys who are donating to these people without asking like any kind of question whatsoever on what are these people's, you know, what are their qualifications to do this? How do we know that they're not going to fuck us? Like, where's your previous work? Do you have a working demo of this game? Do you have something to show me? And Kickstarter was originally built off of the idea that they had to have something done to show off before they could actually do a Kickstarter. The problem is that that something has become so flexible that you could literally say, I'm going to build a game and just have a screenshot made in Paint, and that's enough. That's fucking enough. And we're not asking any questions. Like, I asked when I did the whole piece on Yuji Nakajima and SJW Riot, the big reason why I did it is nobody asked questions. It's pretty much, oh, we like this guy, let's give him money. Nobody asked questions. Nobody asked, you know, why are you putting that amount? Why do you need that amount of funding? And that's a question that, it's a basic question, and we never ask it. As a consumer base, we very rarely ask, why do you need this amount of money? Why this specific amount? And keep in mind that these people who are doing Kickstarters, they're not all malicious fuckers who want to fuck us over. They're usually, you know, the good ones are new people who don't know what they're doing. And they need these questions to be asked, and they need this pressure to be applied so that they can become better. But we don't do that. Like right now, in the same example of Yuji, his whole thing is done. It was a flexible funding back in Indiegogo. And I think that qualifies because we are talking on crowdfunding in general. It was a little Indiegogo thing. He got 1,800 pounds, give or take. And with flexible funding, what that means is that you're going to do the project no matter how much money you get. It's not just you get whatever money is put into. It also comes attached with that little clause that you're going to do the project. And I've, you know, asked him for comment as to where the project is going. And when I asked him, and that was a couple of weeks ago, he still hadn't even hired the developers. But again, we're not talking about that. We don't care anymore. It's already passed. It's old news. And that's a big fucking problem. And I get a lot of shit for it, but Sargon of Akkad is another example. 15 months delayed, and nobody is questioning. Nobody is, you know, pressuring him. Everyone is just, oh, it's all hunky-dory. There's no problem. And that's on us. Shitty practices like Kickstarter and crowdfunding that are meant to fuck over the consumer are there because we allow it to be there.
Yeah, I'm reading the chat. Bahamut D. King is saying it's donate and hope, basically referring to the Kickstarter and stuff. And I'm Batman saying a place to throw money at and don't expect much in return, which is, yeah, pretty much true.
And it's interesting how consumers, we've actually embraced that shit, isn't it? Why would you throw money and hope when you have actual qualified people making games, actual qualified people who have consistently delivered doing shit? Why would you do that is my question. Why the fuck would you do that?
Yeah, there are pretty much many talented people who actually do good games but don't receive shit. I mean, there was an instance of in Denmark, they made a game and they were basically living at school and had to borrow money from the bank and pawned every fucking thing they had. And they didn't get anything through Kickstarter or anything, and they managed to release it and managed to make some money off it.
Yeah, that's, you know what that's called? It's called assuming the risk for your own product. There used to be this little thing that was called you risk for your product because you believe in your product and you fucking find a way to fund yourself and you're the one who assumes all of the risk. That used to be the way people did things. The problem with Kickstarter is that what they're doing essentially is passing on the risk to people who don't mind just forking over the buck for no other reason. It's like people don't know the value of an earned buck. It's like, do these people not work? Is that it? Do they just like throwing money away? Like, isn't there shit that they want? Like, buy a lava lamp or something. I don't know. Fucking, what do the kids fucking buy these days? Why is it that it's okay now to just throw money at shit, and hope for the best? What happened to people who believe in their own products, assuming their own risk? What you're getting now is a bunch of people who don't give a shit about their own product, who don't care, and who pretty much just pass on the risk to you, the consumer. It's completely anti-consumer to the core, but we're not calling it because fuck it, we're lazy.
Yeah, and we've seen time and time again of Kickstarters not actually giving people, even though they made a lot of money. I mean, Jesus Christ, look at Broken Age, fucking disaster. And
how much
they
was
had
that
to
funded for?
3 million.
I mean,
And
you have to laugh.
they fired people. They had parties and all that shit, and they had to split the game in two and basically sell it. Try to make money to make the second part.
Did they ever make it? I didn't follow that
Yeah,
story
they
through.
they released the second part in, when was it? June or something. June or May, something like that.
Either
And
one of them any good?
I can let me see the Metacritic. I don't think it's that highly praised. No, the first part was like okay, but the second part I think disappointed. Let's see, Broken Age. Let's see all those corrupt journalists. Okay, Broken Age Act 1, 81, Metacritic Act 2, 73.
Nah. Since I don't really trust Metacritic at all, that doesn't say much to me, but for the sake of argument and to not start talking about Metacritic, let's say meh. But another
Well, the
interesting.
user score is a more kind of, I always look at user score is 76 for the first one, and for the second one, let's see, so 66. So it's a meh. It's a
It's
meh.
interesting that usually the user scores are lower, but that's a different conversation for a different time. But another interesting thing, and a lot of arguments I usually get, like when I was talking about the Sargon thing, what a lot of people usually say is, well, who fucking gives a shit? People have the right to do whatever they want with their money, and if they want to throw it at a screen and get nothing in return, that's their prerogative. Well, that is true, but you're creating a very dangerous and a very fucking, to use an SJW word, problematic trend. Like, for example, when you give money, like, let's look at the fine young capitalist, which is a topic that a lot of people don't want to talk about. And we will be talking about it in a couple. When is the game coming out? Like at the end of this week? Is it out already? I know it's in August.
Well, which game?
The Fine Young Capitalist game, the game that was funded for 70K.
Oh, what the fuck is that called?
That fucking nightmare.
Capitalist game. Let's see. Game. What the fuck was that called? That all-female game, right?
Yeah.
Here it says Afterlife Empire.
Yeah, Afterlife Empire. I know it's coming out in August. I don't know if it's already out.
Okay, check. Life Empire release dates.
It's on Steam, so you shouldn't be able to find
Steam
it there.
Greenlight.
Yeah, no, it's also on Steam, like normal thing, like normal Steam.
Well, then it's already out then.
It probably is out. But you know, they were delayed a couple of months. But you know, I can look past a couple of months. It's still fucking absurd if you're hiring an actual development company to do it and you're not doing it yourself. But whatever. Okay, it was delayed, but at least it's coming out. The big issue is that if you look at that, it's an isometric game. Its graphics aren't particularly impressive, and its gameplay, according to the people who played the like pre-release version, I think if you donated, you got like you got the game early or something like that. The people who've actually played that version of the game are saying it sucks. So here you have a president of a 2D isometric game that costs $70K to make. You completely destabilize the market with that shit, because now any fucker can come up and say, well, I'm making a 2.5D game. I want 80K. And you're creating this precedent where this is normal, where this is okay.
Yeah. And the delay, I mean, if you delay it a little bit, I like to always quote Shigeru Miyamoto with this. A delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is forever bad.
Yeah, delays are sometimes acceptable, and like maybe when they're a couple of months, not 15 in Sargon's case, especially when he's given no fucking actual explanation other than I'm debugging, but doesn't know what test-driven development is. But that's a different conversation. I just like getting my jabs in. But you know, the problem here is it's $70K, man. $70,000 to make that game. Like looking at it, just looking at it, that doesn't look like a 70K without like a 70K game. And obviously the amounts were not explained of why it'll take 70K to make that game and why, you know, this idea is such a revolutionary thing that can't be made with $5,000, and a bunch of people taking their cuts and money being donated to charity and this and that and whatever. But at the end of the day, it's a game that costs 70K to make, and it doesn't look like a 70K game. And what basis am I using? Well, to paint him in a positive light for once, Sargon asked for $12,000. And he's making a 2.5D game that has 3D models. Why does it have 3D models? No fucking clue. But still, he's making a 2.5D game for $12K. Yuji Nakajima was asking for a 2.5D game for $30K. So all we get are these random amounts that continuously spike the market, and they're using each other as an explanation as to why I asked for X amount of money, while the consumer knows as little information as possible, assumes all of the risk, and usually gets fucked over it.
Yeah, I just regarding the whole Broken Age thing. He said they fired at least a dozen developers. Yeah, they fired a lot of developers. And because the company quote unquote ran out of money. Yeah, that just shows how they that
it sounds a lot like Mighty Number 9, doesn't
it? Tim Schafer doesn't know how to run a budget and or even a fucking company, and is able to make a game that barely cracks 70 on Metacritic with 3.4 million in a budget or something like that.
I think it's important to make a distinction here. The amount of money shouldn't automatically buy a good score, because Destiny had a great fucking budget to work with, and it was a mediocre game by all accounts, at least at launch. And you know, the problem that I have here is that the difference between Destiny and that game is that the studio harbored all of the risk there. They put all the money into it. We as consumers, you know, we have other bad practices like pre-order and shit, but we didn't have to pay them to make the game to then be able to buy the game. It's ridiculous to the core. We need consumers to give us money to make the game so we can sell it to other consumers. And what do the first consumers get? Oh, they'll just get the game for free. So in most cases, you've paid more than the game is actually worth.
Yeah,
and you get a copy.
Yeah, and you basically pre-order of something that you don't even know is there. That's even worse than a regular.
Yeah, you're pre-ordering something that hasn't even been made yet. Like in the other cases, at least the game is made and you're just riding off a hype. But here you're riding off of this new version of hype, which is even more of a cancer than the previous version, in which it's dream hype. It's not even been made, but we're fucking hyped for it. So let's throw money at it.
I mean, the big companies at least take some of the risk themselves and gauge the market. I mean, Take a look. I love what Fox did. Say what you want, or they fucked up fantastic for it. That's for sure. But take a look what they did with Deadpool. That's a perfect fucking example on how you can gauge interest of a product or on a movie, game, whatever you wanna gauge. You leak just a small clip and see if people like it. And if the people do, then give them a
You're
budget and
golden.
let them do it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're golden. But again,
And
even
with
there, they're gauging all of the risk. They put all the money down.
exactly,
It's traditional. It's traditional business versus this new, not even venture capitalism. It's this new dream capitalism, I think is the name you got to get, where you're paying money for dreams, for the possibility of maybe. And if you get screwed, well, you're just fucked. It's the most anti-consumer practice I've ever seen. Now, this is the part where everybody goes, okay, Verlo, so you've bitched and moaned a lot about it. You've taken your shots at Sargon. What's your solution? Let's talk solutions. Well, the first thing you need to do is, okay, immediately people will go, not everybody can fucking take out a loan and pay for that shit. Well, the first thing I'm going to say is if you can't take out a loan and you can't pay for your own shit, then you shouldn't be making a game in the first place, maybe. But let's assume that that's too harsh. There's other ways of doing this. How do you do it? You start making the game by bits and pieces. What have we proven with the crowdfunding? What have we proven with this new age, with this new era in which piracy is practically dead? What have we proven? That people have no problem putting their money down for something that seems worth it to them, even if it's just a dream. So what is the correct way of doing things? In my opinion, one alternative is doing things the Patreon way, the way Patreon was meant to be used, not these fucking YouTubers who are fucking making money and then going and asking for more money to just keep, making money off the first venue. Not the lemonade stand guy, which pretty much is, I'm making lemonade and then I'm going to, after I sell all the lemonade, I'm going to go to the corner and beg for money to make more lemonade so I can sell it. Not that mentality. I mean, people or artists in this case, developers or developers, game development is a form of art, putting out their content for free, 100% free, small portions of the idea of the game that you want to make, putting that shit out for free and letting people judge, am I worth money? Give me money. If not, I'll get better. It's a way of you taking small steps and kind of getting your feet wet, because the other problem with Kickstarters is that usually these developers have no fucking clue of what they're doing, which is why you get 15-month delays and stuff like that, or not enough money, and then second Kickstarters to kind of shadow fund the first one. That's why that shit happens. They don't fucking know what they're doing. This way, you get your feet wet. You get experience. You can kind of demo your idea in the free market, and people can tell you as you develop it, we like this, we dislike that. And you put all of the power back into the hands of the consumer. That's my personal solution. I've heard a couple of people who've had other solutions, which sounds equally good. Like, for example, get a fucking job, save up, and then put your game out. The traditional risk. So, yeah.
I think if they are so into the product, they should sell stocks, not.
That's another option.
Yeah.
Fucking build a company and sell stocks. Go public. You can do that shit.
Well, you don't need to go public. You can buy private stocks in the company.
Also true. Get private investors. That's an option too.
Yeah.
Or hell, reform Kickstarter. Make it so that the people who invest in the project get a cut of the project. You'll see how fucking quickly shit changes once people have the right to stuff. You'll see how quickly that shit changes. Because right now, what is the consumer going to do? They're going to complain. They're going to complain that they didn't get their fucking T-shirt. Is that it?
Yeah, they can do shit. They can't complain about shit.
They can bitch and moan all they want. They're not getting anything. So, but to me, it's all linked, and I like the reason we were doing this stream, because you kind of said something at the beginning. The link all of this has to practices like pre-order, early access, which is another one we haven't covered, and I'll get to in a moment, DLC, and all that other stuff. The common denominator is a consumer who does not want to be diligent. I was on a stream the other day when the whole shitstorm happened. I was on a stream and we were discussing a bit what is the responsibility of the consumer. And what people don't seem to understand is that As a consumer, whenever you put money into a product, you're saying, I approve of this product, I approve of the company, and I want more of it. Henceforth, I want them to
Yes.
continue making it the way they're making it. And that seems to be a concept that people are very uncomfortable with these days. They kind of want to completely erase their responsibility. And that's the reason the market is as crippled and as fucked as it is. We have a responsibility. People can complain and bitch and moan all they want about FIFA being the same recycled game every year, but guess what, motherfucker? That game sells.
Yeah.
So those same people who are bitching and complaining are usually the people who are in line at 12 o'clock at midnight buying the game. It's all
Yeah.
linked to us being irresponsible. Go ahead.
Yeah. Also, it's not just FIFA. It's Call of Duty, Madden, all that recycled shit, which people just buy in millions. And there are actually good games which don't sell for shit. And it's a real shame because just, people are too fucking stupid to see a game because they want to play with their friends instead of getting a good experience.
Yeah, because we don't want to be we all fucking and when I finish this point, I'm going to get to something that was said in the chat. I don't usually look at chats lately, but this one seems to be nice. But the fun part in all this is that we really want to pretend that the market is fucked because of some external factor. Like it's just the journal that's one that I've been talking about when it comes to Gamergate for a really long time. Oh, the journalists are fucked. Well, guess who let them get fucked? And guess who continues to let them get fucked? And I know we're going to talk about this later, tonight about shit like SPJ, but you can't expect to put your hopes into one specific event and everything's going to be hunky-dory. No, it's a behavior in the consumer that needs to change. This is not a negotiation. You get to tell the people who are selling the product what they get to sell. This isn't a democracy, it's a dictatorship when it comes to the fucking free market. We get to tell them, no, you don't get to put out broken and incomplete games. And no, I will not pay you for fucking a horse on Skyrim DLC. I'm not going to fucking pay you for that. Fuck you. You don't get to do that. Eat shit. But no, we're giving them the money for the same shit over and over. And a little thing that I'd like to get to, which Axis Fiver, I hope I didn't pronounce his game, Axis Fiver ×2, said in the chat. He said, I've seen Kickstarter campaigns where they sell tangible goods you could get at a dollar store marked up for 1,000+%. It's all about building a community and interacting with the backers. And that's true. Again, the value of an item is what the market gives it. You could absolutely do that and buy some, dollar store shit and sell it to be able to build your game. You're making a sale. You're selling it more expensively, correct? But it's what he said, talking to the backers, building a community. But at least there you're giving them a tangible good. Granted, it's one that is, a lot more expensive, but you're giving them a tangible good, and you're doing it with the excuse that I want to build a game. It's very different than just give me your money and hope that I build a game. Because here, if you get screwed, at least you have the goods that you bought. Granted, more expensive, but you still have tangible goods. So that's an interesting little piece of info that you gave us there. Thanks, Axis.
Yeah, and what I also don't understand is during these Kickstarter campaigns, they set goals, right? You see, if we get this amount of money, we're gonna add this to the game. Why don't they, after they get the money, talk to people what they want into the game and then add it instead of oh, we got the money now, we're just gonna make it.
Yeah, that's an interesting, and even a more interesting question is, why should that be a stretch goal to begin with? If you have, that whenever I see that, that just tells me that these people aren't artists. These people don't have vision. If I want to build a game, I don't want to build 80% of the game. I want to build the whole thing. So if the whole thing is just $5,000 more, why didn't you ask for the full amount to begin with? Why'd you have to add these things on? That's kind of retroactive DLC, isn't it? That's kind of, well, we're going to give you some special version of DLC here.
Yeah, I mean, they have planned to put this in the game, but they want money for it. That's extortion.
Yeah, that is kind of extortion. No, that is a way of extortion. I know it's not. I know that's not what you were trying to say, but it is in a way. It's a kind of extortion. Give us, this amount of money, and we'll add these cool features. It is in a way, kind of fucking the consumer over. But I see it more as a kind of pre-order DLC kind of in a way. But yeah.
Yeah, because they're holding content hostage. Because no, we want this amount of money. Otherwise, you're not gonna get shit, and that's bullshit.
Yeah, it is absolutely bullshit. So, but again, it goes back to what can we do as a community of gamers? What can we do as consumers? Personally, me as a game developer, an aspiring game developer, whatever you want to call me at this point, I wouldn't put a game on Kickstarter like ever. Like they'd have to be a very specific set of very specific circumstances for me to decide to do that. And the game would pretty much be almost done. And I wouldn't claim to do it in a month if I couldn't do it in a month.
Well, the only type of payment I would take would be a Patreon where I update every month and talk to the backers.
Yeah, that's why I've been advocating for the people think I hate Patreon. I think Patreon is the future. I hate people who fucking get paid to do shit and then they have a little e-beggar section on Patreon. I hate that shit. But the idea of this guy's building a game and you can see his progress and you can give him more money to continue doing it and he's shouldering a lot of the risk himself, fuck it. I like seeing that. That's a good thing. That's absolutely a good thing. And you know what? If he doesn't deliver his product, you get to fucking stop funding him the next month. It's really a simple, straightforward process.
And you while you're doing this, you can have a conversation with the people. If let's say in the wildest dreams, I would do a Kickstarter. The only thing I would put as goals were polish, maybe, or maybe have vague, like make a little bit a bigger world. That's about it, because you can't say, oh, I'm gonna add this character, I'm gonna add this character, because that's bullshit.
Yeah, it's absolute nonsense. John Kelly's in the chat, so you can expect shit to hit the fan soon. How you doing, Kelly? And he kind of comments that Patreon is cancer. I think the way it's currently used is cancer. I think the way that we've described is actually the way that it was set up and meant to be used. I'm 100% for that.
Victim card. Victim.
No, but it's not just that. It's expanded to my eSeleb status. Give me some money. It's expanded to that, which is equally cancer.
Yeah, I mean, I see everyone. Yeah, this is kind of off topic, but anyways, I see every one of these fucking YouTubers starting up a Patreon to make fucking videos, which is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen.
Because they're gonna do it anyway.
Yeah, put ads on your fucking videos.
And they do.
Put out some. Yeah, they do. And do some quality content and earn some fucking money. I mean, I do commercial or ads on my videos, but I haven't earned shit. So
right back at you. I haven't earned shit either. But again, even if they were like to make videos and they wouldn't monetize it, like some people have done, I could get behind that because you're creating content.
Even though I hate that fucking zit of on the asshole of gaming, Jim Sterling. He actually doesn't
zit on the asshole of gaming. That's creative.
He at least doesn't put ads on his fucking videos.
Yeah, that is.
And that I have to respect, because he lets backers pretty much, even though those who don't back him can watch the video without any ads.
Yeah, he's as you said, the zit on the asshole of gaming. I'm stealing that one, but he is doing Patreon the way that I at least personally think is done right. I actually thought he monetized his videos. To be honest, I wasn't unaware that he didn't monetize them. He was just using Patreon. But it is what it is. I mean, it just delivers back to the question: what responsibility do we have in all of this? How do we fix this? This doesn't seem to be like this external thing, because again, we can complain about YouTubers monetizing videos all they want, but at the end of the day, what the market is saying is you get to do that. That's fine. We'll give you money. And even the quote unquote people who pride themselves in being smart, which are gamer gators, they're doing the same fucking thing. Like, we do the same fucking thing. How much money have we poured into different eCeleb Patreons for no reason when they already monetize their content? Well, why would we do that? Well, why? What is with this welfare mentality for famous people?
PayPal as well, giving people.
Yeah, it's the welfare mentality for people I like. I like you,
PayPal,
so you don't have to
Amazon, Patreon,
Amazon
all
links,
that shit.
yeah. Amazon wish list. Like, you really have to be an arrogant motherfucker to put out to people who are giving their time to watch an arrogant motherfucker speak. You have to really be an egomaniacal piece of shit to put out a wish list and say, hey, by the way, guys, not only is it good for you to take, not only is it my fucking privilege and pleasure to have 5 minutes of your time to listen to me talk, but here's a list of shit that you can gift me. Like what kind of piece of shit? Like seriously, think about that for a moment. Like, what a lot of these e-celebs forget is that being a YouTuber is a privilege. It absolutely is a privilege to have people listen to you and dedicate time to whatever content you put out. You should be flattered that anybody wants to do that to begin with. It's such a low fucking quality when it comes to products. But on top of that, you're going to tell them, here's a list of shit that you can gift me. I need this new razor to shave my balls. I mean, and what kind of fucked up person would do that?
Yeah, I haven't just seen people in Gamergate, but also the bigger ones who have like 500k subscribers even do that shit. So, I mean, I get if they want to have like promos, like follow this link with Audible, fine. It's not my cup of tea. I think it's a kind of overkill because they already get money off their videos.
Not only that, but these are the same fuckers who not only get paid for their videos, but at the same time are crying about how they don't get enough money and need to do paid promotions, and then need to open a Patreon or a PayPal and beg for money there, and then they open a Twitch and beg for more money there. I mean, Jesus, man, these guys are making money everywhere, and it's relevant to the crowdfunding in the way that, when does it stop for us? When do we keep giving people money for no reason? When do we keep supporting this welfare mentality? And why do we do it to begin with? Like, what's the reason? Yeah, you can do it. It's your money. It's people's money. They can burn it or shove it up their assholes if they want. But why? Why would you tell the market that that's an acceptable business practice? Like, what would happen if EA would open a Patreon tomorrow? We'd all be on their ass, wouldn't we? We'd all be shitting on those motherfuckers for opening a Patreon. Well, why wouldn't it be okay for them to do it?
It's a double standard.
It's a fucking double stuff. So of course it is, because it's this cult of personality mentality that we have.
Oh, I also saw in the chat, Bahamut D King, referring to my Jim Sterling comment. He's too big to be a zit. He's a carbuncle. No, he's a wart. You can say he's a wart on the ass of gaming, if you really want to break it down.
He gives an example of that guy with the glasses. Don't get me started of that guy with the glasses and people who are the allies who have come out of it. Like, I could, everybody knows I could sit here and ramble for 2 hours about enraged Enrique or pissed off Pedro, whatever the name people are using these days to refer to fucking Angry Joe. I mean, I could sit here and bitch about that guy for 2 hours. So let's not get into that guy with the glasses and their surrounding buddies, please.
Batman says adblock is usually to blame from the YouTuber's Twitch streamer's perspective. Yeah, but if you have good content, I have on YouTube, I put my adblock off, but everywhere else I pretty much have it on because they're not worth my time. And if you can whitelist if you like a person, that's how you earn trust and earn fucking money.
And it's been proven. It's been, sorry to cut you off, but it's been proven that this generation's consumer has no problem putting money down on shit that they believe in. And again, this idea that YouTubers are losing a lot of money because of AdSense, guess what? Nobody can claim that because we have no numbers. YouTuber is the only profession on this earth that you have no idea how much people make. Like, I've worked as a radio frequency engineer, as a software engineer, as an electronics design engineer. Right now, people could go on Google and tell me how much I made, at least in a ballpark amount. They could tell me. Right now, they could do that. Go and do the same about YouTube. And then everybody's like, YouTubers can't make enough, you know, and again, I'm not saying specifics. I'm not saying, because I know they have a no disclosure contract, but you absolutely can give ballpark amounts. If you're really being this affected by things like ad block, if you're really being affected by, you know, to the point that you need to create paid promotions and you need to go on Twitch and cry and make money there, you should at least tell people, look how much we've been fucked. You know, we're only making ballpark amount this. And by the way, I'm not buying it. PewDiePie made, well, how much was it? 7.5 million in 2014? Like, really? YouTubers aren't making money? No, fuck that shit. And that guy has to be hit by ad block more than anybody else, because everybody hates that dude. So, you know, I'm not buying that shit. When Enraged Enrique goes and cries that he's not making enough money and he's got $7 in his pocket, I'm telling him to go shove it, because these guys usually have ways to beg for money elsewhere. And the same goes for Boogie, and same goes for all these other fuckers who cry and say we don't have enough money. No, fuck that. You do. And if I'm wrong, you can prove me wrong.
Yeah, I got really irritated about when Boogie said put off the ad block on his videos.
Yeah, turn off that pesky ad block. We give Mundane Matt a lot of shit for that, but he's not the only one who's done that. Like, Enraged Enrique did a similar thing, and recently it's come out that fucking Angry Joe uses ad block himself. That was hilarious. There's a video on one of his recent shit that somebody sent me a screenshot where you can see the ad block in his video. It's like double fucking standards, motherfucker. But, you know, and we're kind of going a little bit off a tangent, but I think I feel it's related when it comes to crowdfunding. It comes down to it's all part of the same cancer. It's all part of, we don't want to ask questions. We want to give you money because we like you. It's fucking, we've successfully turned the internet side of gaming into high school. I like somebody, he's popular, I'm gonna give him cash, so maybe I can become a little bit more liked too. I'm a cool kid, I'm giving, you know, X or Y faggot money. And, you know, it's just destroying gaming. And then we wonder, why the fuck is the indie section so fucked? Well, look in a mirror and you'll know why. Like, we have responsibility. It's time that we stop giving people money they don't deserve. And the Gamergaters in particular, I will ask them, have you been following up on Yuji Nakajima? Forget about Sargon and his failed attempt at Tree Simulator 2031. Ask Yuji Nakajima where the game is, what his plans are. He said he wanted to release in 2015 and he doesn't even have developers hired. Go fucking follow him. What about Roguestar? Ask him where his game is. The guy fucking did a second fucking Kickstarter for a port for PlayStation 4 and hadn't finished the game yet. Go ask that motherfucker where his game is and why he went underground, and you'll find some interesting answers. So, Jesus, guys, I mean, Gamergate prides itself in being the people who are helping fix the industry, and we don't ask basic fucking questions like these. We're too busy saying that we killed fucking Kotaku. And we didn't. So, Jesus, come on, guys. And it's funny because I get to say shit like this now because everybody hates me anyway.
Yeah, you know my reason. I don't give a fuck either. So yeah, I also wanted to touch like early access, which is basically a more developed stage of Kickstarter and crowdfunding.
It's lesser cancer, but it's still terminal.
Yeah, and I don't know why the fuck it's coming to consoles now. I'm a console peasant. I do play on PC, but yeah, I'm a console peasant. Mock me all you want. And Xbox and PlayStation 4 are getting it with Fallout and mods. I don't have any issue with mods. Mod ahead, whatever the fuck you want to do, but early access with games like DayZ, it's something I want to. I don't really get.
I'll tell you why, because we're fucking stupid enough to pay for it. But to get more in depth, and rather than just give the simple answer, we're paying for it. It's a fucking, of course, console is going to embrace it. It's been working on PC for a while. Why the fuck not? But let's look at it. Let's try to be a little bit more objective and look at it from both a positive and a negative. Well, let's the positives in compared to Kickstarter. Well, at least there's a product that you're looking at, and that you theoretically are helping the developers make to better fit the things that you want to see. So there's that. Yeah, you're paying for a product up front that isn't even finished, and you're helping the developers build it for free by actually giving them money. You're literally paying to be their beta tester or alpha tester in most cases. But at least there's a product there. There's something there at the very least, contrary to Kickstarter, which is just, hopes and dreams that you're putting money into. The big issue with early access is, well, what I just said. You're paying people to do the job that used to be paid to other people to do. Like, they used to pay alpha and beta testers. Now you're paying them to do the same thing. For what? Bragging rights? I helped build this game if it ever comes out. And then it suffers from that same weakness that Kickstarter suffers from. They can just stay eternally in early access, or they can go the Tim Schafer route and just fucking, hey, we're just going to put the game out. Fuck it. Final version. There you go. Oh, it's not complete. We don't give a shit. Eat it. So
yeah, there was a game. What was it called? There was a dinosaur game. I wrote about.
I know the one you're talking about. I know the one you're talking about. Jesus, I can't name it.
Yeah, I can't figure it. It was something with Lance. Anyways, it's not important. But that was an early access game. People gave it money, and the main guy just fucking left.
No, fuck it.
Yeah, he took like 180 grand or something. Didn't even pay the developer who was actually developing the game, and just said, "Fuck it, I'm leaving."
Yeah. Because they get to do that. Because why the fuck not? What's the consumer going to do? Nothing. They're just going to give money to the next project.
Yeah.
Because that's how we roll, man.
Yeah, and I really despise, at least when it comes to anti-consumer stuff. It's the worst ones are Kickstarter and early access. As you said, it's a lesser of two evils, but it's still evil.
Yeah, but it's kind of, to me, the flip side on that, and kind of the more negative side, is that they're literally, like with Kickstarter, at least they're pretending that, oh, we're going to develop this game and we're asking you money to make this game come true. But with early access, they're just fucking you in the ass, and they're not even pretending. It's just, yeah, this game ain't finished. It's probably in a shitty state, but you're going to help us build it, because why not? Pay us so you get to do work. And it's still stuck. It's like, DLC should have never stuck, but it did, because, hey, the concept of expanding the game after you were done with it sounded pretty cool. The problem was that it was easily abused, and that's the state what we have now. Pre-order. People used to do it. It was functional before you had mass production in the sense that you have it now, where you couldn't, when a game came out and you didn't buy it day one, you wouldn't get it for a week. That shit doesn't happen anymore. It's outstayed as welcome, but there it is. And now you got all these little fucking bonuses where actually are real pieces of the game that just chopped it in, and fucking said, this is a bonus now. So we let that slide too. Then they came around and said, hey, early access. Why don't you pay us money so you get to test our game? What's next? Where does it end? When do we say we don't want to keep getting fucked by this nasty fucking greedy ass dick anymore? Well, where do we stop it? Because I don't know what the next step is. Like, creatively speaking, I have no idea what they could charge us for next. Like, there's nothing they haven't charged us for at this point. Like, what are they going to do? They're going to make us now pay for the salaries of the developers, like on a monthly basis or something, so you can get the game. Like I have no fucking, because that's kind of what Kickstarter is in a way. But what's next? Like, I don't know why EA isn't kickstarting every one of their games at this point. Like, why would they risk anything? I mean, the consumer has proven that we're dumb enough to fork over the expenses themselves, and they also proven that they really have short-term memory when it comes to bad development and bad developers. So why isn't EA kickstarting their games? Like, why aren't they doing that?
I don't know. They have,
like, they should. The market is saying that that's okay and that we like that shit. So why aren't they doing that? Maybe they'll even get a better reputation. Oh, EA's good now. They're kickstarting games. That's good. They're listening to consumers. That's the spin. They're listening to consumers now, and they're just giving the consumer what they want.
Well, you're making a good point, but I don't think even they would stoop that low, even though it sounds very, very wrong.
But we've said it's okay, so it wouldn't really be wrong. I mean, we like that shit. I mean, how much money has been made over Kickstarter in the last 3 years? Like, does
A
somebody have
lot.
a statistic for that? I know it's a shit ton, but does somebody have, like, a couple of people have shown me some statistics, but I refuse to believe it. Does anybody have, like, some hard evidence that this is how much money's been made? Fuck it. Let's look at it from a Gamergate perspective. Yeah, you know I love doing that. We put into just 2 products, Finding Capitalist and Base Gamer, $130,000 motherfucking dollars. Think about that shit for a second. $130,000 into ideas. Clearly ideas that were going to fix the industry, because come on, who doesn't think that Base Gamer is going to be the next Metacritic? And there's clearly nothing wrong with how Metacritic works from a functional standpoint. You know,
Base Gamer is gonna have native advertisements, so
we don't talk about that, Androdol. Okay, we talk about how it's great and it costed just $50K to do it. And you know, we all know that the what's the name of the Finding Capital's game?
Afterlife, Empire.
Afterlife, whatever. We know that that's going to be game of the year for fucking sure. Like, I don't even know why they're going to release the new Fallout when we have this game out. So again, we've changed the face of the industry. Just $130,000 at a time.
Talking about bad examples, the mother of all bad examples of giving money to someone on Kickstarter is Anita Sarkeesian.
Yeah, that's a good example. Like, she hasn't released. How long has she been? Like 2 years at this point? Delayed?
3
3 years? Like, geez, I don't even think Sargon can get that far. But damn, 3 years?
Yeah.
That's and she's never gonna finish it. We all know that.
No, she's not. She's gonna just spend it on our personal stuff and not give a shit about.
Keep in mind the Feminist Frequency is a non-profit, so.
Well, she can get bent with that kind of comment.
Well, it's a non-profit, so she's not making a dime. So check your fucking privilege, Androdol.
Yeah, well, the money is fucking going somewhere, so. So I mean, talking about improving her series or whatever, she there was nothing improved. That's a prime example of.
Yeah, that is a prime example of Kickstarter. But again, we like to point at her and say, "Oh, she's evil." She just did what the market allowed her to get away with, and we said was okay. Because again, she's done that shit, but I can point at quite a few game developers. There's one guy in the chat is saying that this guy asked for 18,000 and fucking disappeared, and backers tracked him, and he still hasn't fucking fulfilled the orders. How many? Fuck it. What was the name of this crazy motherfucker who pretended that she was Iron Man and she had like lead in her heart and wanted to be? I think it's Chloe Siegel who fucking said she needed an operation to get lead out of her heart, like the plot of fucking Iron Man 1, and in reality she just wanted it to have sex reassignment surgery. Like, that shit happens in Kickstarter. And the guy who fucking put her out, what was his name? Was it Pinsoff? The guy who fucking blew the whistle on her lost his job. Like that's the kind of reactions that that is acceptable these days. Like, you don't know how many of these people you're giving money are actually just turning into women. Like, that's a thing, man.
Well, just to give an example of how much of a shit show Kickstarter has become. Somebody put a Kickstarter up for I think it was like $5 or something. He wanted to learn how to make what was it? Mashed potatoes, and he earned like 30K or something.
Yeah, the potato guy. I think, what was it like? Yeah, he was like going to film himself, and if he got like a certain goal, he'd like make like another version. Yeah, but that guy deserved that money. That's like master troll right there. Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's become such a joke that
that shit gets pushed through. Yeah, but again, at least the people who donated money to him got what they paid for, not like, you know, other Kickstarters that, you know, you give them money and 15 months later still haven't, you know, delivered their product or updated anything. But, you know, it does paint it in a good light. It is a joke at this point. Anybody can get money for Kickstarter at this point to do anything. It kind of begs to differ. Andrew, why don't we start a Kickstarter for fucking painting our houses, our respective houses, and we'll ask for I don't know, reasonable $30,000 each. Obviously, I mean we'll probably get funded, right? I mean, we just have to say, you know, we got to paint our house, and they're not allowing us to paint our house pink. So I don't know, we'll make some shit up like people do. If this chick could almost get away with getting an Iron Man surgery just to change sexes, we can get away with painting our houses, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I think we pretty much covered everything at this point. Anything else you wanna touch before we go?
Anything else I want to touch? That sounds nasty. I don't know. I do think we've covered quite a bit of it. I mean, I guess what I'm looking forward to is talking about all the other dumb shit that, you know, that's a little tangent, and I look forward to covering it on some other stream, both yours and someone else's. But look at how this mentality of the consumer who just doesn't give a shit and doesn't think, how that shit has affected Gamergate, and look at all the stuff we've given money to. Because again, it's easy to point and say, "Oh, look, Kickstarter, it's stupid." We should look at the kind of shit that we've sunk money into and what kind of a difference that's made. That's the kind of conversation I'm dying in having, but I don't think this is the stream to do it.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank everyone for joining up with us. We had over 10 viewers, which is kind of surprising. Of just us talking about Kickstarter. So yeah, I'm gonna try to watch at least the first panel of Airplay and talk about that, and try to make a regular stream in a couple of hours, because I have classes that doesn't start before late tomorrow, so I have time. So yeah, see you guys in a bit. So see ya.
Later, everybody. Thanks for having me on, Andrew.